Writing equations in slope-intercept form. We've talked about slope-intercept form before, correct?
Yes.
Can someone raise your hand and tell me what slope-intercept form is? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Y equals mx plus b. Very good. We'll see if my... Very good. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. What does the m represent? Slope. What does the b represent? The y-intercept. That's why it's called slope-intercept form, right?
Yes.
So if I was wanting to write an equation in slope-intercept form, which two things do you think I would need? What did we just say?
Y equals mx. The intercept.
The slope and the y-intercept. That's the only two things I need to write an equation in slope-intercept form. Does that make sense? That's why it's called slope-intercept form. Okay? So that's what we're doing today. We're going to be given different things, and we're going to be writing our equations in slope-intercept form, given those things that we're given. Okay? So example 1. Write an equation of each line with the given slope and y-intercept. Letter A. Slope equals -3. Y-intercept equals 1/2. What did we say slope-intercept form was again? Y equals mx plus b. What does the m represent? Slope. What's my slope in this case? -3. So I'm going to take my m out, replace the m with -3. We okay with that? What does the b represent? Y-intercept. What's my y-intercept here? 1/2. So I'm going to replace the b with 1/2. There's my answer. Easy peasy? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Questions on letter A? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Letter B. Slope is 0. Y-intercept is -2. Raise your hand so you can give me my equation in slope-intercept form, given this slope and this y-intercept. Y equals 0x plus -2 or just -2. Either way will work. What's 0 times x? So it could simplify down to y equals -2. Okay? If you wrote it like this, I wouldn't count it wrong, but it can be simplified further to y equals -2. Questions on B? Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Gives you a slope, plug it in for m. Gives you y-intercept, plug it in for b. There's your equation in slope-intercept form. Any questions on example 1, A or B? Okay, moving on. Now it gives you a graph. Write an equation of each line in slope-intercept form. So previously I was given the slope and the y-intercept. What two things do I need in order to write an equation in slope-intercept form? Slope and y-intercept. So I'm probably going to have to try to get those two things from my graph. Any ideas on how I'm going to do that for letter A? Yes?
This, the y-intercept is just where the line crosses y, so it would be where the line crosses y.
Yeah, so what's my y-intercept here?
-3.
-3, very good. My y-intercept is where my graph crosses my y-axis, right? So we just got to look at it, see where it crosses the y-axis. It's at the ordered pair 0, -3, so my y-intercept is just -3. Everyone okay with that? Now all I need is my slope. You guys remember how to find slope from a graph? Rise over run. So previously, we would create a triangle between our 2 points, right? You guys remember this?
Yeah.
The height of the triangle is my rise. The width of the triangle is my run, right? So for this case, what is the height of my triangle? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The height of my triangle is 6. The rise is 6.
Okay.
Do we understand that?
Yeah.
The width of my triangle is my run. How wide is my triangle? What? 4. So that's my run. Golly, I cannot draw a 4. Can 6 over 4 be reduced?
Yes.
To what?
2 over 3.
Not 2 over 3.
3 over 2.
3 over 2. And we got to ask ourselves, what does slope dude say on this line?
Puff, puff, positive.
Puff, puff, positive. So I know it's got to stay as a positive number. Right? So there's my slope. There's my y-intercept. I could now come up with my equation in slope-intercept form. Raise your hand if you can give me the equation. Raise your hand.
Y equals 3 over 2x.
Very good. Y equals 3 halves x minus 3. Questions there? Replace the m with your slope. Replace the b with your y-intercept. We good with letter A? What's another way I could have found the slope? You guys remember?
Is it that y2 over y1 thing?
It's not y2 over y1 though.
No, it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x2.
There you go. This is another way I can find my slope using your slope formula. So what's my second y value? What's one of my y values? What? 3. Bring your minus sign down. What's my other y value? Negative 3. What's the x value that corresponds with this positive 3? What? 4. Bring your minus sign down. What's my other x value? 0. Two negatives next to each other makes a 3 plus 3 is 4 minus 0. 6 over 4 reduces to 3 over 2. Is that the same slope I got earlier? Yeah, it is. You can find slope either way, using your rise over run or using your slope formula. Other questions on letter A? We okay with that? Can I erase and move to letter B? Letter B. Raise your hand if you can help me find the slope. Raise your hand if you can help me find the slope. Yes. Do you want to use rise over run or the slope formula?
The triangle thing, whichever one.
Rise over run.
Yeah.
Let me draw my triangle real quick. So what's my slope here?
Four over 4. 4 over 4.
4 over 4.
It's really hard to see.
Height of my triangle is the rise. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone agree with 3 over 4 is my slope? Are we sure? 100% positive. I disagree.
I disagree too.
What? Negative 3/4. Remember, we got to ask ourselves, what does slope dude say on this line?
Nice negative.
Nice negative. So I know my slope needs to be a negative number. So it's negative 3/4. Don't forget that. Don't forget to check your sign on your slope if you're using this method. Okay? Questions on that? Raise your hand if you can help me find my y-intercept. Elijah, help me out. What's my y-intercept?
I have no clue. I have my glasses.
Shh. Eli, see me after class.
It's 2.
Thank you. Look at my graph. See where it's crossing my y-axis? It's crossing at 0, 2. My y-intercept is 2. Raise your hand. Don't shout it out if you can give me my equation in slope-intercept form. Someone who hasn't answered yet. Raise your hand.
Y equals negative 3 over 4 plus 2.
Don't forget your x. But that is correct. Y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2. Once again, all you need to write your equation in slope-intercept form is a slope and a y-intercept. Questions on letter B? We okay with that one?
Yeah.
Any questions on example 2, A or B?
No.
It's pretty easy.
Pretty easy so far?
Yes.
Can I move on?
Yep.
Here we go. Write an equation of each line that passes through the given points. So the first slide, we were given the slope and the y-intercept. Last slide, we were given the graph of the line. Now we're just giving 2 ordered pairs that are on the line. What are the 2 things I need to create an equation in slope-intercept form? Slope and the y-intercept. So I've got to somehow find those 2 things from these 2 points. Any ideas how I can find my slope here? The slope formula, right? What's my slope formula? You guys should have that memorized already from the last test. Right? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what's my second y value? Negative 1. Bring your minus sign over from the formula. What's my first y value? 5. Over. What's my second x value? 0. Bring your minus sign over, and what's my first x value? Negative 3. We okay with how I plugged into the slope formula? Just no, maybe so? Okay. Negative 1 minus 5. Negative 6. Over. What happens with 2 negatives right next to each other? Creates a positive. What's 0 plus 3? 3. Negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. There's my slope. Slope is negative 2. Okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think I'm going to find my y-intercept given these 2 points? Any thoughts? Any ideas on how to find my y-intercept given these 2 points? Anyone have any thoughts at all that might be correct? If not, it's okay. I want you to try.
Negative 6 over 3.
Well, that's my slope.
Well,
Said negative 1, since with a 0.
Very good. Anytime I have a y-intercept, what's the x value always going to be? 0. Does one of my ordered pairs have an x value of 0? Yeah, so I know that's my y-intercept. Does that make sense? Okay. Y-axis, right? Y-intercept is where my graph crosses the y-axis. What is this ordered pair?
1.
0, 1. 0, 2.
0, 3.
0, 3.
1 negative 1.
0, negative 1.
0 negative 2.
What's the x value always going to be for a
Zero.
y-intercept?
0.
0. So I look to see if any of my ordered pairs have an x value of 0. Do either one of them have an x value of 0?
Yes.
Yes, they do. I know that's my y-intercept. Does that make sense? A little bit more sense. So my y-intercept is just -1. The only two things I need to create an equation in slope-intercept form, what are they? What do I need?
Slope and y-intercept.
Slope and y-intercept. Do I have those two things now?
Yes.
Yes, I do. What would be my equation for part A?
Y equals -2x plus -1.
Very good.
Just
Y equals -2x minus 1. I plugged the -2 in for M. And plug in -1 for B. Okay? Questions on A? Can I erase and move to B? How are we feeling about this so far?
It's easy.
Easy?
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, we're on letter B. Let's go ahead and find our slope. What's my second x value? Or y value, I mean?
-5.
-5. Bring your minus sign over from the formula. What's my first y value?
-5.
-5. Over, what's my second x value? 8. Minus, what's my first x value? 0. That becomes -5 plus 5, which gives me -5 plus 5? 0. 8 minus 0?
0. 8.
8. 0 divided by 8.
My fault.
What?
The egg's up top.
0.
0, so I get a nice clean number.
0.
Right? There's my slope. Raise your hand if you can tell me my y-intercept.
No, actually, I lied.
Yes. Why is it -5? Because it's got an x value of 0. Not just because there's a 0 in there, right?
Yeah.
If my y value was 0, that wouldn't be my y-intercept, would it? You got to make sure the x value is 0. So I know -5 is my y-intercept. So what would my equation be?
What'd you say?
What would my equation be in slope-intercept form?
It would be y equals 0 -5.
It'd start off as 0x minus 5, right? But it would then turn into
You're just
y equals -5.
I was about to say that, but
Right?
I thought it was wrong.
Any questions on letter B? Does that make sense for us?
I was gonna say that in my head. Think about it.
We okay with letter B? Can I move on? Write a linear function f with the values f of 0 equals 10 and f of 6 equals 34. This looks a little different,
What does?
this problem.
That's what makes
Oh.
it special.
I know.
This is a function notation. Any ideas how to approach this?
Divide 6.
No.
Alright, try.
F of whatever means y, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
f of whatever means y, so what are my y values here?
0 and 6.
No,
Huh?
10.
10 and
34.
34.
That's the
Those are my
first
y
thing
values,
for-
right? What would the corresponding x values be?
6.
0 and 6, right?
Yeah.
So these just turn into ordered pairs. Usually we write f of x, correct?
Yes.
So here they replace the x with what?
0.
0. So I know that's my x value. And like we said, f of whatever equals whatever is my y value. So my y value here is 10.
Oh. What?
This is the x value. This is the y value.
Oh.
Because f of whatever equals that number, so that's my y value.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's my x value here?
6.
6, because they replaced the x with 6. What's the corresponding y value?
34.
34. So this just turns into a problem like my previous examples. Right?
Yes.
You're
Now, it does say to write a linear function f with the values f of 0 equals 10 and f of 6 equals 34. So is it going to look like y equals mx plus b?
Mhm.
What's it going to look like?
Something with C involved.
No? What am I going to trade the y out for? What? F of x. That's what it's going to look like. F of x equals mx plus b, because it's wanting me to write a linear function f. Okay? So instead of writing a y, we write f of x. So let's find our slope.
Why?
Shh, hold on. What's my second y value?
The 34.
34. Bring your minus sign over from the formula. What's my first y value?
10.
10. Over. What's my second x value?
6.
6.
0.
Minus. What's my first x value? 0. We okay plugging into slope formula? Okay, 34 minus 10.
24.
6 minus 0.
6.
24 divided by 6.
6.
4.
4.
4.
I said it first.
We okay finding slope given 2 points? Okay, do I have a y-intercept here?
Yes.
I got an x value that is 0. So what's the y-intercept?
10.
10. So someone raise your hand and give me my function f.
F of x equals 4 plus 10.
4 plus 10?
Wait. Plus,
What are you missing?
He can't see.
4x.
4x plus 10. Don't forget your x with it.
Yeah.
Okay? So there would be my linear function f with the values f of 0 equals 10 and f of 6 equals 34. So make sure if it asks for the function f, you write it as f of x. We okay with that? Any questions, comments, concerns about our notes?
No, sir.
You go back.
Here in a second. Here's our assignment.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Page 183, numbers 2 through 28, evens. It's
Okay.
14 problems. A lot of them should go pretty quick. This will be due Thursday, December 2nd on Canvas. It's already almost December. Tomorrow's December. Nope, tomorrow's December.
Christmas time. No, it's not.
Make sure you get this written down. Make sure you get the correct heading on your paper. Are there any questions about my notes before I end the recording?
No.
No.
Can you go back?
I will go back, but that's not about pertaining to recording.